Everybody, welcome back to the Beyond the Peloton podcast. I'm Spencer Martin, author of the Beyond the Peloton newsletter. As always, I'm here with Andrew Vontz from the Choose the Hard Way podcast, the Always the Hard Way newsletter. We have a special guest, Jonathan Kaplan from the Writing With newsletter. He had takes so hot, so unfiltered. We had to have him on to air them out, to air these grievances so we can argue. But Andrew, do you want to plug anything before we get going?
Yeah, if you don't already listen and subscribe, please go check out Choose the Hard Way. If you like this podcast, I think that you'll dig my podcast. Plenty of cycling content over there for all of you people who like to go deep. Jonathan, it's great to have you here today. And I hear that we have got some pretty hot takes on deck. 3 chilies from what I hear. So maybe we should just get straight into it. As everyone knows,
before you do that, though, I was just going to update people on the racing because I know people watch races. They come to this show to say, what are they going to say about the racing?
Yeah, Spencer, we should get to the racing, but we do have to bear in mind, as everyone knows who listened to the Abandon Your Family live at Pace Ranch in Tucson episode over on Choose the Hard Way, which you can check out. Jonathan has a pretty severe Normatec addiction. I believe he has a support group at the top of the hour that he's going to have to get get a few pumps in. But let's go ahead and get an overview of the racing scene. And I think this is hyper relevant to today's topic, which we will get to, because I think that we have some new titans rising from the sea to clash with others.
Yes.
Go ahead, Spence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you bring it up. Well, UAE Tour, I thought, and I was going to publish this, but I waited until stage 3, the first summit finish. I thought Evenepoel versus Isaac del Toro, I don't know if you guys saw this, just like, hey, first stage, sprint stage. What if I just ride away? What if I don't let him sprint? And he did, and he won. Johan Bernil said he only put out 1,200 watts for 34 seconds. So not that impressive of an effort. But when you weigh 64 kilos, what's that? That's like 17 watts per kilo for over half a minute. Not too bad. The time trial rolls around. Evenepoel roasts it like 500 watts average, which is a lot for Remco Evenepoel, very small rider who's very aerodynamic. So he's in shape, right? No, they get to the summit finish. And Andrew, I was just thinking of you watching this because Remco looks great. And then suddenly, oh no, I'm ramping up. Oh, I'm injured. He's grabbing his leg. He's got cramps in his legs. He's dropped. He's out of the GC. This presents an issue because in his last 4 World Tour stage races, this is a man who was paid a multi-million-dollar transfer fee to come over and almost as much as Tadej Pogačar makes per year to be a stage racer for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. And in his last 4 World Tour stage races, he's won the time trial only to be hopelessly dropped on the following climb. Not a great trend. Hasn't won a World Tour stage race since the 2023 UAE Tour. I would say some troubling trends there. Maybe not a stage racer. Slight issue for Red Bull, if that's what they were banking on. Volta Andalusia used to be a bigger race. Now it's kind of third banana of this group. I only mention it because I don't know if you saw yesterday, but you rarely see this on a 1-week stage race. The 2 strongest riders in the race, Ivan Romeo and Andreas Leknitsen, get away in a breakaway, and the Peloton, I don't know what they were thinking. They let it go. They're like, yeah, we'll let it go. We can't pull them back. I don't know if they fully realize that this is like a 5-stage race with no time trial, no climbs. So now they're just going to be 1-2 in the GC probably because there's no room to pull them back. Like after stage 3, Romeo is 50 seconds up on Christophe Laporte in third, Leknitsen second, 7 seconds back. Oops, kind of an oopsie there. You don't see that in modern cycling so much. That's kind of fun. But the real race, the real one of the week, I think, Volta Algarve. Stage 3 was today, the time trial. Top Ghana wins, Andrew, Filippo Ganna on Ineos. Yesterday was the summit finish, though. I thought this was the best race of the year by far so far, where 19-year-old Paul Seychelles, he attacks, I think. We didn't quite see it. They kind of had that camera special where the cameraman's looking at the moto. He's looking at the trees. You don't quite know what's going on. Maybe like a Kubrickian effort to add tension to the race. But it looked like Seychelles attacked, followed by Juan Ayuso, now in Lidl Trek, and then João Almeida bridged up to them, and then our guy, Matthew Riccatello, bridged up to them with, I believe, who was with them? It was a rider named Oscar Onley from Ineos, now in Ineos. Everyone's on different teams. It's confusing. Paul Seychelles just smokes them in the sprint. Like, sit down, Juan Ayuso. I'm here. I've arrived. I'm 4 years your junior, but I'm the new guy. The narrative gets a little muddy because I thought Seychelles then was going to win this race. Stage 3 time trial. Juan Ayuso almost beats Felipe Ogana 6 seconds back. Oof. Ayuso's looking pretty good. Seychelles, though, only 13 seconds behind Ghana. So now we have Juan Ayuso in first. Paul Seychelles 7 seconds back. Almeida 44 seconds back. Probably out of it, but it's still a battle between 1 and 2. I hate to say it, guys. I think this 19-year-old Frenchman, he might be next up, as the kids say. I thought he was all hype, but this is pretty impressive. To beat those guys in a sprint like that at the top of a climb, to use like not only strength but tactics, we might be staring down the barrel of French domination coming up.
Get the goats ready. Plenty of stale croissants inbound.
Keep the goats away from him. Don't put this man on a farm. We can't squander the next French talent. Obviously, I just want to prepare people. The thing they're going to be hearing, it might be troubling to hear, is he's better than Tadej Pogačar. That's what everyone's going to start saying. He's not yet done a Grand Tour, but he's probably the best French Grand Tour rider in the world currently, which speaks to his potential. I am quite curious to see if he goes to the Tour. He's 19 years old. Would you guys send this man to the Tour de France this year?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, he's 19, and you know what's going to happen. You've seen this movie before. The media storm just crushes him. Next thing you know, he moves to a farm with some goats. Never to be seen again. I mean, your son is almost the same age as this guy. Would you send your son to the Tour de France to race it under intense media pressure, Jonathan?
As an American, yeah. 6 years from now, sure. All right, just step back for a second. Are we seeing a version of cycling in the future without Tadej Pogačar?
Yes, because time alone will make that happen, Jonathan.
Yeah, at some point, Tadej Pogačar will not be there. I'm confident.
Right, but is this like the
hot
new
take? But I'm confident.
Is this like the pecking order that we're going to see if he's not there?
Well, but I think that we're skipping ahead here. I think, Jonathan, you've advanced some pretty controversial takes off camera in our signal thread with Pete Hegseth. So I think that you owe it to listeners to kind of be a bit more forthright about your position coming into this episode.
Okay. First, I had quite the wind up here, but I just wanted to say, Andrew, great column on the Quad God. It was really well done. I also wanted to offer, a lot of your listeners are very good athletes, very accomplished. They will win a race or multiple races, and their partners might win races or other events. And this is mostly directed at the guys. If that happens, if your spouse or your partner or girlfriend win a race, don't propose to them. I mean, that's just dumb.
Did this happen again?
Who's
somewhere?
guilty?
This happened at the Olympics. At the Olympics, the guy,
was
a
it
woman,
an American woman, cross-country skier that lost his girlfriend?
No,
did he
different.
do a proposal?
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Incredible.
To
a different woman he met in the Olympic Village.
A week later, he's pivoting to a proposal.
No, I can't think of her name. She's an American skier. She won. The one not downhill, not Michaela Schifrin, not Lindsey Vohn's event, some other event. She won. The guy proposes to her. Like, he totally eclipses her gold medal. Like, no, don't do that. That's dumb. I'm saving you thousands of dollars in legal bills and therapy bills later on. So just you're welcome. Okay. Second, yeah, if you do win and you get to the press conference, do not talk about your sex life. We don't care. It's gross.
I don't know about that.
Really? You're going to go up there and say, I cheated on her. I wish she'd come back to me. Blah, blah, blah.
Maybe it was emotional cheating, Jonathan. You're jumping to some conclusions here.
Yeah. That's a very good point. And a lot of times I can be more damaging than a physical relationship. But would we be talking about this guy if he didn't do that? Is he actually, I think he's like the Billy Bean. He's playing Moneyball. Like, he's got nothing to lose. He's got third in biathlon. We're never going to talk about him. Now he's the talk of the town. And if he doesn't say anything, she probably doesn't come back. But now he's started a conversation, and he's signaled to future mates that he's desirable because he was supported by.
This is how he gets.
He's an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, this is how he gets a significant cash infusion from the PIF, and maybe changes. Right?
Okay.
I
think in today's media environment, you gotta get people talking about you, and he definitely accomplished that. Would I recommend it to my son? Probably not.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but whatever, to each their own, right? Okay, we're almost there. The other thing I mentioned to you guys, Isaac del Toro, best name in all of cycling right now, surpassing even Taco Vanderhoorn. I mean, such a great name, such a great name.
Well, it's so good, I'm a little suspicious of it. Isaac the Bull?
Yeah.
Like, is that real? Is that a stage name? I don't know. I'm gonna start going. I might take a trip down to Ensenada and start doing some birth certificate.
Get that birth
hunting.
certificate.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's do the long form.
Del Toro has some clenbuterol overtones if you think about it, so I'm not sure how solid this is if you're thinking about it through the filter of the Pistolero, right? Yeah, and while we're talking about Del
maybe
Toro,
not a great nickname in retrospect.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, Spencer, that Del Toro victory, it wasn't just, how many seconds did he put out 1,200 watts for?
34 seconds.
34?
It was over 1,000 watts for that.
Right. So it wasn't just that it was 34 seconds at that wattage, which at the, talk about durability or repeatability of effort. Try that on your next training ride during
go try
the end of your gravel training block. It's that he accelerated, sat down, and then he reaccelerated, which, as Jonathan pointed out, we know that between the listenership of this show, we're taking most of the podiums at mid-major and minor gravel events. By the way, mark your calendars, May 28th, the Shakeout Ride Adult Contemporary Gravel World Tour presented by Choose the Hard Way, coming to Emporia, Kansas. You don't want to miss it. I know you're winners. I know you've got the legs for this day of community and belonging. But that is what's even more remarkable about this. Like, once you start the sprint and sit down, you're typically done, but he rose again. And I believe he was in the hoods while he did this.
Yes, absolutely. Never once touched the drops.
Yeah, verboten.
It is almost impossible. Once you've seen you've been sprinting against someone, they sit down, it's one. Like, they can't stand up. He stood up. The second coming of the bull of Christ, perhaps. To answer, so it is an interesting question, Jonathan. Are we seeing the future? I would say let's pump the brakes on that a little bit. Pogacar, I think he has 4 tour winning years left, or like 4 years where he could win the tour. I think he could. He's going to start petering out around 31, 32. That's usually when people stop winning the biggest races. But the thing I would say, I do think Paul Seychelles is next. I think Isaac del Toro is next. I think those are the two guys to watch. I think we could be looking at an extinction level event for the mid generation. So for the people younger than Pogacar, but older than those guys, think Juan Ayuso, think Joao Almeida, even though Almeida's kind of the same age as Pogacar. I think they're going to get skipped because it's like Obama coming in and just eating an entire generation of the Democratic Party. That's what's going to happen here. Like, bad time to be a 23-year-old Tour de France contender, I think.
It's the Generation X of cycling.
Unless you're Matthew Riccatello, who I think is a genuine tour contender.
Well, it's funny you say that, and it's funny you picked him before we even interviewed him on the show. My mother-in-law was like, have you heard of this guy, Matthew Riccatello? I read a piece. They interviewed him in the Times. I'm like, we interviewed him a month earlier than the Times. Come on. But you said, like, at the end of last year, you thought he was the most intriguing U.S. talent. This guy, he comes out right after that interview, wins his first, not really his first stage race, but I would say his biggest stage race, Tour de la Provence.
The Valley of the Sun was really the biggest victory.
I don't know if he ever won that, actually, though. That's how competitive Valley of the Sun is. And then he wins the Queen stage, and then yesterday he's up there with Paul Seychelles. He was actually helping Seychelles beat those guys. That's an elite group, and Riccatello was in it. So I would say very exciting for him. And if you think about it, he's coming for these, like, think of Oscar Onley. Riccatello was a free transfer to Decathlon. Onley cost Ineos 6 million euros. Pounds? Euros? Dollars? We don't know. Think about that. And he's up there with them, with the guys. Juan Ayuso was a 10 million euro transfer fee, and Riccatello's competing with them. So that's value for their money, for sure.
So this gets to the big question I was going to ask you guys. It's either the smartest dumb question, dumbest smart question I could think of, or that came to mind. So when we first got to know each other 2.5 years ago, you talked about the big six: Jonas, Tadej, Van der Poel, Remco, Primoz, Wout. Now we're basically like, there's the big 1.52, which is Tadej, Vanderpoel, sometimes Jonas will slip in if you want to include him. But Spencer, what's the data point that Pogacar and Vanderpoel have won like an absurd number of
70% of the last 22 major one-day races. So the last 22 major one-day races, which I'm counting as monuments, Olympics, and World Championships, four total riders have won. That's Vanderpoel, Pogacar, Remco, Philipsen. The Philipsen win is kind of a proxy Vanderpoel win, and Remco hasn't won many of them. So really, it's just Vanderpoel and Pogacar winning every major one-day race. They've eaten the sport, essentially.
So has pro cycling become boring? After years of disruption, is it now boring?
I guess so much to say in response to this.
Define disruption just really quick.
Well, you had this period of upheaval in the early 2020s. We saw this new generation ushered in. I mean, Tadej, Jonas, Wout was when he was younger. I mean, it was sort of an exciting period. 2022, 2023, 2024, and now it's kind of like there's a I don't want to say calmness, but it's more predictable. There's a predictability and almost sort of sometimes it even seems like a fait accompli of what's going to happen. Now, I still want to have the discussion. Yes, and stage 3 at the UAE Tour yesterday at the other race kind of undercuts my theory because I thought that was really exciting.
I was just going to say you're a day late on this.
I know.
We should say the thing supporting your theory is, and I guess we should define boring versus normal. Like if you think it's reverted to normal, I would say absolutely not. It's not normal for the Tour de France favorite to be competing with the best cobbled classics rider of all time for Roubaix in the same season. Is it boring? I do think is an interesting question because the Vuelta a España, take that thing out back and put it out of its misery. Oh my God. That was the worst Grand Tour maybe I've ever watched. That was awful. And Jonas squeaks it out. But I also think that pushes back on a lot of people blame Pogacar for the boringness. And then, you get caught smoking a cigarette and your dad puts you in the closet with a box of cigars and doesn't let you come out until you finish it. It's like, you want races without Pogacar? Here you go. And it was not so fun at the Vuelta, but let's cover both normal and boring. Andrew, do you want to take a whack at this first?
Yeah, I want to take a whack at it. I just think at a global meta level, whether it's sport, business, life, culture, politics, everything is a Hegelian dialectic. And that means you have a thesis, you have an antithesis, you have a synthesis, and this cycle continues over and over and over for perpetuity. Setting everything else aside, even the individuals involved, time will just take care of this and change will happen. It may seem glacial when we're zoomed in on this in the moment, but it's guaranteed to change. Personally, I think that this is the most exciting era of professional cycling ever. I just think back to processional sprint stages with Pataki, Cipollini, Lance's tours where it was almost pro forma that he was going to win, and it was just copy paste, hit a certain number and like you were going to win the tour basically as long as you didn't crash. It doesn't feel like that to me anymore. And I actually see signs right now that the era of Pogacar dominance is ending, which I can get into, and they're probably not the factors that you might think of. And I also think that there are a lot of troubling signs right now at Visma, chiefly that they're now seeking a new title sponsor. And it appears that they're potentially entering a period of financial difficulty and inability to compete with UAE at a time when a lot of other things are happening at that team. And I could get into much more, and specifically I want to talk about what's happening with Pogacar. Spencer, before I do, why don't you step into the circle and pop and lock?
Well, I think it's an interesting question, and it's a worthy question. And you see a lot of people complaining. Sports boring, especially once we get into also, we should talk about this. The top guys don't race anymore. Like, where the heck are they? They're just all tucked away. Eventually, they'll come out of hiding. They'll be racing. And everyone's going to say, the boring. Pogacar wins everything. We should say Van der Poel is hitting an age where he just mathematically, if you look at it, almost no riders over the age of 31 win monuments. And he's getting there. He's there. He's 31 years old this year, I believe. So he's going to stop winning. Like, it's going to happen. The sun's going to set. Van der Poel's going to stop winning. That's going to leave room for somebody else. But Pogacar, maybe I'm biased. I love watching greatness. I love nothing more than watching greatness. Tennis sucks. Two guys win everything. And there's not even a chance that anyone can beat them. Like, there is no future in the near future where Sinner or Alcaraz does not win a major. And I love it. I love watching those guys. I love watching the best. Give me winners. I could watch winners all day. So I love the Pogacar dominance. I can't get enough. And I frankly struggle when I go back and, think of all the people we love. We love Tom Boonen, Fabian Cancellara, Valverde. Love those guys. We go back. I have a hard time watching those races because everything looks in slow motion. And it's like, Peter, just ride away from everybody. What are you doing? Like, I find myself frustrated. So I frankly think this is a more, I think the lack of suspense does not necessarily make something boring, but I would understand if someone said, well, it's kind of a bummer that one person wins every race. But Jonathan, why do you think that other sport, like, that's not uncommon? It's more common in other sports that the best are always the best and they usually win. Like, why do people not complain in tennis about it?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was also thinking nobody complained when Michael Jordan dominated. Nobody complained about Kobe.
Yeah.
People loved it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even Tom Brady. I mean, you might hate the Patriots, but I loved watching Tom Brady play. So again,
they also loved when Lance dominated, and I think we've just named a bunch of Americans, right?
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Yeah. But I do.
But like, think of Federer. Federer was making a joke of the sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people loved it. I don't quite know why Pogacar gets so much hate. And
I'm not giving him hate at all. I mean, I think you're right. I think it's great to watch. It's awesome. I was just curious because there's certainly not parody. Parody's boring, right?
That's a good question. Well, so the NBA did this big push for parody. Same thing with the NFL in some sense.
The NFL did too, yeah.
And at some point, especially the NFL this year, where I think it lost me because of I'm like, this is too much. I can't keep up with this. I need some anchor. Like, I can't. Right. It's like every year teams are different and somebody else is good. Like, no, thank you. I'm not going to follow this. Wake me up when the Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl. But for cycling, you're right. So there was a lot of disruption. I'm just looking at a list of all the major races. So 2019, COVID happens. I don't know if you guys remember this. Crazy. You're not going to believe it, but they shut the world down. 2020, we come out, and then everything's different. Everyone that was good was not good anymore. Think Jakob Fuglsang, Chris Froome had some issues. But riders like that just could not compete anymore. You had all these new riders. Things were changing. So you're right, Jonathan, in the sense that things are not changing at that rate anymore, and we have settled into an equilibrium. Is it boring, I guess, is another question. But you are correct that an equilibrium has been hit. But I think what Andrew was hinting at, that he's going to tell us a little bit more about, he senses this equilibrium is not going to last forever and is in fact changing before our eyes, or in fact has already changed.
Yeah, what's the name of the theory again? What's the theory?
It's the Hegelian dialectic.
Hegelian dialectic. All right, I'll have to research that, but go on, tell us.
Yeah, I think there are a few factors at play here. One is just the finances of the sport have fundamentally changed, in particular because UAE has more capital than everyone else. And that means that they've rolled up most of the best talent, and they also have the best development system. And all of the other teams, including those that seem to be at an equal level, in particular Visma, now struggle to have the finances to compete with them. And based on what Richard Pluga shared this week, with Visma departing as title sponsor, it's going to become more difficult, especially during a challenging period of time for that team, I think, for them to attract the sponsor dollars that they need. So that's number one. Number two, if we take a look at Pogačar, I was thinking about just some pattern recognition. And if we think about Pogačar at the end of last season, I don't know if you all remember this. I believe he was on the volcano or somewhere in Spain training, and he famously had a jersey. He had a jersey made saying, "Don't take pictures of me, don't talk to me." It had all these things written on it because he was really suffering under the level of attention he was getting from fans at that point in time. And then we had the incident 2 weeks ago where Pogačar lost his mind because a fan freaked out on him and was not very nice after asking Pogačar for a photo, and Pogačar said, "Hey, do you mind waiting 2 minutes?" And then there was this there was a press statement about it. They had a press release. It was on social media. Please leave Tadej alone. And it all seemed, I mean, hey, fair enough. And guess what? If you want to be about that life, this is what comes with being the very best athlete in the world. So I think the weight of being famous is actually starting to impact him, because I think he enjoys being the world's best athlete and this fun, easygoing guy. I don't get the sense that the rest of it that comes with being that famous. And I mean, in particular, think about all of the more mainstream spaces where he's showing up now. There's a very famous wellness and longevity doctor whose name we're not going to mention, who had Tadej on his podcast, very mainstream here in America, now very canceled. And it's things like that. He's getting just this level of attention and scrutiny that someone who is the son of someone who worked in a office chair manufacturing facility is not really prepared to receive and does not want. So I think that that's actually the thing that will potentially make him come undone. And just to talk about Remco for a moment as well, because I think it's related. I've talked a lot over the past couple of years about how I believe Remco has the right stuff to actually be a Grand Tour winner, including the Tour de France. I believe that.
Well, I guess we should say he has won a Grand Tour.
Well, okay.
I kind of always forget that.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, you're right. I totally forgot it even just now. I believe he has the right stuff to win the Tour de France. I don't believe that he has the psychology at this moment in time, because I believe he could actually evolve. He'd have to do it very rapidly, because I think every time he has a race like he had this week where he implodes, that it's going to make it harder and harder to actually have the mindset that would enable him to express the totality of his physical potential, which I believe is on par with Pog and Jonas.
And I think you're right, and I think those are mental implosions. I think the time trials will tell us that. If you can do 500 watts for a 13-minute time trial, you can probably. And he was think about that. He dropped Tiberi, who won that stage, Antonio Tiberi, 7 days ago at another stage race. Just wrote him off his wheel. So it's clearly not a strength issue. It's a mental issue. I do think you're right. He's good enough to win the Tour. Just looking at him at, what is that, De Brance Appeal last year, where I think he rode Wout van Aert off his wheel. Also, you mentioned Van Aert. You mentioned him being younger, him being better, alluded to it, Jonathan. Do you guys know the only rider to drop Pogačar in the last 2 years?
Was it Wout at the Tour?
Wout at the Tour. So this old guy still got it, apparently. But that, I thought of that because, we're talking about implosion. Think about Pogačar. Pogačar, that one tour where he was coming back from injury, he had an implosion, but he comes back on stage 20 and wins it, which is important. I think at the time, a casual viewer could say, he lost it. Why is he doing this? I think mentally that's very important, and it shows you where his mind is. It shows you how competitive he is. But think about Pogačar and Vingegaard. They almost never implode. Like, sometimes they aren't their best, but almost never implode. Like Jonas was really sick and not at his best at the Tour last year or at the Volta, and he still wins it. Like he toughed it out and won it. That's what I think someone like Remco doesn't have. Also on the do not disturb, do not take photos jersey, that was at home because Pogacar is like really stopped going to the volcano, does not do altitude camps as much as other riders, which is interesting. I do think I got the sense that his training, I would say his training camp, people were like, oh, did you hang out with Tadej? It's like, dude, this guy, it reminds me of Lance actually, where he's in a room and he's like, when can I not be around you people? Like it's not rude. It's just, you can tell they would rather not be there. They would rather be doing something else.
No one would want to. It's not a normal human thing. You don't want to be around thousands or tens of thousands of strangers who you don't know, who all want something from you and see you as like a god. It's people just don't understand that aspect, not of wealth or achievement, but of being actually famous. It's not a fun thing for almost anyone.
No, not fun at all.
Yeah. I mean, well, on the flip side, you would think given UAE's resources, that is something that they could deploy to help him and to prevent that or to shield him from that. So let me just say,
bodyguards cracking skulls on the side of the road.
No, not but
I don't know.
I read this morning in Escape Collective's I don't know, Spin Cycle, a weekly newsletter. They had a small item at the bottom saying, I think it said UAE is now sending a motorcycle rider out with Tadej, which kind of like, why weren't they doing that before? But yeah, that underscores the point you're making, Andrew.
Well, because before psychologically it wasn't bothering him. I also would say the incident that Jonas had with the amateurs sitting on his wheel, and I think details have emerged that the amateur did not wreck him. Just Jonas was so rattled by whatever the circumstances were of somebody sitting on his wheel on a descent, which I don't remember which tour it was, but do you remember when Jonas and Pog kept going off the road on that one descent?
Yeah.
It's very unsettling. It really activates, it's a very primal, I believe, evolutionary biology and psychological response. It activates your prey and predator drive. When you're chasing someone or someone's chasing you, I think that you have a very visceral feeling of distress, especially if you're being pursued.
Yeah, and a little bit like when drove the car up to Lemon and rode down, I was with our friend Todd, and when I was behind him, it's like so comfortable, right? I'm just following him. And then and it's like, Todd is a friendly man. This was a friendly ride. There's nothing at stake. And even when I was noticing, it's like, this primal being pursued feeling, and it slows your reflexes down just enough that you can crash. Like even if you're Jonas, it does bother you. I would say, I just feel like Wiesma could have handled that better. I feel like even if you see a pro out riding, if you see anybody, if you see Andrew out riding, don't just sit on there. We should ask, like, hey, do you mind if like you did with those guys on Lemon, you should probably ask if you can sit on their wheel. If they say no, don't follow them. But if you're out riding, I feel like it should not be a shock that there might be other people on the road. That was funny to me that he was so rattled by that.
But these are franchise players. Like, I mean, Alcaraz or Sinner take the court. There's like 6 people on the court with them to train, like two hitting partners, the coach, the strength coach, the friend.
Yeah, but they're stationary.
No, I know, but I mean, why? If I were in that position going out for a training ride, I would want a car with me.
I think you could have a car, you could have a motorcycle. All of these teams have sports psychologists. They have applied high performance experts. I just had one of the best mental skills and performance coaches in the world, Jeff Troche, who's worked with Super Bowl champions, NBA champions, and World Series champions on my podcast. He's got a great book out that we talked about. But somebody like Jeff or my good friend Dara Harris, also applied high performance expert who, works with the best in the world in professional sports and a lot of other disciplines. You don't just need people on your staff who do these things. You need the very best people in the world. And I don't know who they're working with at these teams. I'm sure they're very good. And there are also levels to this, and cycling can be a very insular world, and a lot of the experts are drawn from the world of cycling, often because cycling doesn't have the budget of football in Europe or football in the United States. And I just wonder if those are some of the experts that are needed.
Well,
in
also,
addition to,
a car with you for 7 hours every day of the year is a lot different than someone hitting with you for an hour a day. Like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Those are a huge resource. I do know there was an issue on Postal where someone got hit. Some rider got hit, and then Lance then had, it might have been every day. This guy, Dave Bulsh, great guy, locked in. But Dave would drive the car behind him every day in training, I believe, from then on. So there is precedent for it. It just logistically, it's like you want to go out and ride. You might not necessarily want to like be coordinating that's in place. And they probably do have people with them sometimes. It's just,
Right.
are they with them all day, every day? Because that can get expensive, and just who even has the time to do that and to employ someone full time? I don't know. But it's also, cycling's on the road. It's just a different sport than it's not a crappy sport like tennis. It's like a good sport where you're out on the road and and that's part of the fun thing about it. Anyone can hit a ball.
That's
around.
fair. That's fair.
Can anyone dodge? But here's a pop quiz for you guys. Someone's following you and you don't want them on your wheel. What do you do? How do you solve that problem?
Brake check them.
Oh,
pull over and they'll go by. Like, it doesn't seem like an unsolvable problem. It's like, oh, I can't shake them. It's like, just pull over and they're going to keep going.
But we know this is a swim fan situation, and that's going to be a stage 5 cleaner. They're not going anywhere. That's when they go in for the selfie, right?
Yeah, that is the day you pull over, they stop with you. Oof, now you got a problem. I would say things I'm concerned about. Just have a list here before Jonathan has to go. Is Juan Ayuso good? I'm now worried about this because he looked pretty good on that uphill finish, and then to finish 6 seconds behind Ghana in a flat 20K time trial, that's pretty impressive. Should we be worried about this?
How so? Wait, I'm lost. Worried about
Juan
that he is good?
Yeah.
Just maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I find it hard to, given how he acted at UAE, I find it hard to, but maybe he's a likable guy, I just don't know. But to feel good about him and to root for him, I can't bring myself to do it yet.
What about Paul Seychelles? How do you feel about him?
Oh yeah, I mean, it looks great. Love it. Him and Riccatello. I thought that stage was fantastic.
So neither of you have concerns about a 19-year-old. We did just watch Alyssa Liu, 20 years old. I love that she's 20 years old. That's not that much older than your son, Jonathan. And they're talking about her coming back from retirement.
Yeah, I know.
Like she's 20. What are you talking about?
What's crazy is the first time she was 16. Right?
Yeah, retired, stepped away from the sport at 16. Like, jeez.
Listen, there's a big difference between 13 and 16 and 20. But yeah, I get your point's well taken. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan, I know you need to slide into those Normatechs. I just wanted to say on the Ayuso point, I think it'll be very interesting this season. He has kind of a Ric Flair vibe. He's like a real heel type character.
A heel. Yeah, he is.
He's a heel, and there is a non-zero chance that what seemed like a massive deficit, which was him having this public meltdown tantrum, throwing his team under the bus, the team with the most resources in the world in the middle of a grand tour, that seemed to be indicative of someone who is massively immature and was headed for an actual total implosion and potential exit from the sport on the side of the road, like Miguel Angel Lopez style at some point in the future. However, what if he's a genius? And what if he's just like playing the entire world like a fiddle, and he's that psychologically proficient and so attuned that this season he's going to use all of this to his advantage, and he's just playing this massive game? I think it's highly unlikely, and it's possible. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And I think with Seychelles, there is this new generation of French riders, and we've seen some of them burn very bright and then fade away very quickly. And
almost all of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to come up with examples of. Yeah.
I'm not going to remember this guy's name, unfortunately, but there was the gentleman who won a number of stages for Cofidis at the Tour a couple of years ago and then quit the sport. And then Unibet Rockets talked him into returning to the sport.
Oh, Victor Lefebvre.
over. Yes, and now he's back for Unibet Rockets, and it's this. Well, I need this. It's fine. He just needs a different vibe than he was experiencing. He was probably very calorie restricted and without air conditioning and covetous, I have to imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine it's the worst of every world. It's restrictive, but also not high performative, just to make you miserable. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention that in Remco's interviews following the implosion, he cited 2 factors, actually 3. Number 1, he did demonstrate some self-awareness. He said, hey, tactically, I made a massive mistake. I went with the attack early on the climb, and I know that I totally blew it. But again, his drive is so strong. He has to learn to rein it in or it'll never work. But I thought he did display a bit more self-awareness than he has in the past, where he would have blamed a mechanic or something. Number 2, he said that he was totally muscularly blown out from pushing a 68 tooth chainring. I think that's actually plausible. He just said the effort of actually initiating at the beginning and getting up to speed on a gear that big was very muscularly taxing, and he felt that contributed to cramping. And the third factor, which is related to Cofidis and Lefebvre, is he had broken air conditioning the night before the implosion. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And nonetheless, you have to give 100% of whatever you have on the day, and you can't have days like that if you want to be a Tour de France winner or even the winner of a several-day stage race, because shit happens.
The chainring thing's super interesting because I have wondered, it's like, well, were these guys all idiots? Why isn't Lance running an 82 chainring back in the day? Well, it's like, well, there is a price to pay for it. If you run a 150 mil crank with a 63-2 chainring, it's a lot of muscular wear that you're putting on your body, and that would be then related to all the implosions I just mentioned. So, interesting theory there from Remco. Remco is one of our best listener submitters. So thank you, Remco, for that. It's fascinating stuff. I would say, Jonathan, on your original point, not to be professing your sex life in press conferences, but on cycling, part of the problem and part of the boring, I think, comes from the fact that a lot of the best riders are not allowed to compete against Pogacar because they're on his team. Like, think of Joao Almeida is probably the 3rd best stage racer in the world, at least in the Grand Tour sense. Juan Ayuso looks amazing. He's not been able to compete against them because they stack all this, like Nebraska football. You sign 200 guys a year, put them on the bench. You don't have to play against them. Ayuso's going to be at the Tour this year for Lidl Trek. So that's quite exciting. Like, we might finally see some of these riders be on other teams and Pogacar have to race against them versus locking everybody on his depth chart and then not letting them race against him.
That's great points. I'm persuaded. I mean, I don't think I was ever convinced of my own point, but now I'm on board. I'm on board with this season, with the 2026 season.
I would say it got a lot more exciting after you unleashed this theory. Like yesterday and today was pretty interesting. It was the first time where I was like, this is pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah. Guys, one more question.
Maybe Jonathan's theory is what actually caused these events to happen. It's like the singularity. It started with Jonathan.
Most things do. Let me ask one final question, or not, but where I get all my news, Instagram, I'm watching Johannes Abrahamsen train on Zwift at altitude because it's snowing. Why the hell is he in altitude? What's he doing?
Well, it's an interesting idea, actually. I mean, I had a pro runner say why, because I still don't agree with her decision to do this, but she would go to like 9,000 feet and run inside in winter for the altitude benefit. As I said, like, Pogacar is just like, yeah, I'm going to stay at home. I've got a little tent in my room. Good luck with that, guys. But Uno X, they had this theory that I need to spend more time in altitude. And if that is being up there in the wintertime on the trainer, that's better. Andrew might say the quality of training is better on Zwift than you get on the roads. But to me, that yes, maybe that's okay. But also there's a mental limit to what you can take, right? They also did not expect it to be that snowy. It was historic storms in southern Spain. So
just
probably
like Washington,
a little bit of bad luck. It is.
Yeah.
But it also shows you why maybe don't do an altitude camp in December.
Well, I thought the theory, well, at least back in the day, was that you race to train and you train to race. And that's not what's happening.
Oh, that hasn't happened for a long time. I think what's
Okay.
happening with Uno X is they're dry aging these giant sides of beef at 8,000 feet. So, like,
So they
it's
can eat
actually
them.
they're just turn them into hunks up there, right?
That's the profit. They're gonna
Yeah.
pivot to selling human meats over the web. Peter Thiel's new venture. It's amazing. I did think that was a little. It's a mix-up, but it was spicy at the UAE camp. Someone asked the UAE performance staff about this, and they were kind of mad about it. There's like, that's not going to work. Those guys don't know what they're doing. But they had this theory that, hey, we got to spend like all of our time at altitude. I don't know. I have a lot of personally, I don't do that well at altitude, so it's good that I live here. But I tend to just atrophy because I'm not. If I was going to do an altitude camp, I would probably try to, like, Vanderpool goes to this hotel next to his house that we might be staying at next year in December. And you can train in specific rooms that are altitude. You can sleep at altitude, but then you're also at the ocean, so you can train at sea level because you can start to atrophy if you're at altitude too long.
I have to say, watching Abrahamson's training, which he shares publicly and
It's
very
insane.
frequently, I almost feel like I'm watching someone at a CIA black site. It just looks so
Yeah.
miserable, and I wonder how long someone can sustain the regimen that he's undertaken.
He's a
If you
nut.
Just look
No one should
Yeah.
try to do that. Like, he's not normal. He broke his collarbone a week before the tour last year and won a stage. And I rewatched that stage. He never had more than a minute and a half. And you got to go motorcycle fast. Like, they're going 35 miles an hour sustained in the peloton, and you got to stay out in front of that for 5 hours. That's insane. He's not normal.
That was a great day. All right, so I think we know what we have to do. We have to rank. The other thing is just quick stories. We have to rank riders based on their Instagram. He'd probably be number one.
I think so.
But the other thing I noticed, I was at the Politics and Bros bookstore here in Washington, D.C. There are so many, The Athletic is doing this, so many books that rank the top 100 players of all time. I think we need to do that for cycling.
Would we sell it as a book or is like a podcast
We would
series?
sell it.
Could you get this at the checkout at the Whole Foods in Boulder?
VeloPress is our thing there. This might sell like
You know what I mean?
1,000
Like, you're
copies.
like,
Yeah.
oh, do I get a payday or this
This book.
This book? It's only $25. 100 best cyclists of all time.
If it sold 500,
heavyweight
if it sold
paper.
500 copies, that's success, man.
How do the? You're always talking about writing a book. What's the pay? It's a lot of work. What's the payoff?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Just like,
Well,
you know.
I know a good friend of mine is a very successful book agent in the UK, and I have some friends that do well writing books there. So it does seem like there is a book market still alive somewhere in the English language world. So I don't know, maybe it does seem like all the books though are like Mark Cavendish's biography. Like those are the books that sell. It's hard to break through with a sports book that's not a ghostwritten biography, but maybe this is the one. That would be an interesting project to do.
Speaking of ghostwriters, I was on Reddit yesterday chatting with Sally Jenkins about what she thought of Schemo. She answered my question. I'll share it with you guys.
What did you guys think of Schemo? And also Sally Jenkins.
I think I agree with her that I was kind of unsure at first. I was kind of like, what? They're changing the transition? What's going on here? But the more I watched it, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's fast.
I thought they were going to be like 10 laps.
It's for like the Instagram generation. I mean, it's like, you don't need an attention span.
Well, there's a bit more to it than that. This is the Olympic version of the sport, which is the sprint variant. If you want to learn more about Schemo, you can go listen to my episode on Schemo Gold, which is Travis Macy's podcast about Schemo that he co-hosts when it's not the Olympics with the American male athlete who's representing the United States in Schemo, whose name I can't remember right now.
We don't know. If you see this man, he has a very distinctive face.
He looks like the Quinn Simmons of Schemo, but
Yeah.
Quinn Simmons is the Quinn Simmons of Schemo. But Travis and I break down, hey, exactly what is Schemo? How does it work? I think it's really cool. It looks like a fun sport. And if I were a young person and lived near a mountain and had great knees, I think I would give it a try. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do think so. It's ski mountaineering. Skimo is short for ski mountaineering. I was on group rides in 2012 where people would be like, "Skimo, man, it's coming to the next Olympics." So I started to think like, this is never going to happen. Like, oh my god! But it's here. I thought it was pretty cool. It does not do it justice how hard it is. We had Jack Burke on here. He said it's far harder than the uphill in skimo is far harder than cycling. Like you are reaching total body failure by the time you get to the top. I do think it is quite like that. I live close to an area where you can go safely skimo. The danger is you go backcountry, avalanches are not awesome and are quite dangerous. If you go to like Buttermilk Resort and Aspen, you can go uphill. You can just put the skins on and go up. I think it's a great way to ski. Earn your turns, I say. I don't want to use the lift.
Spencer, I don't think we should get off of this podcast. I don't think we should exit it today unless, Jonathan, you publicly commit to what your book is going to be, because you've been talking about it since we met you. So I'd like you to declare what the book is that you on your own are actually going to write. You're, of course, a very talented and seasoned writer. What is the book going to be about, and when can we expect it?
The novel?
No, not the novel.
I know you have a novel sitting with it. The nonfiction
but we know
book.
that you've got a nonfiction book in you, and this is what you actually want to do. What is it? What's the book?
Yeah, I would like to find a season on the brink for cycling and write that book.
What would the team be? And for those who don't know, Season on the Brink, John Feinstein, great book, embedded himself with, I want to say, the 1986 Indiana team. It was the year before they won the title. Yes. Everything went wrong. Couldn't have done it better. I got this. I used to read Feinstein religiously, but I would get it from the library where I was from, very conservative town, and they would redact out naughty
the cursing.
Words. So like the whole book was redacted. But no, it's a great formula. What team would you pick? I think Israel last year was the one you should have done.
I know. And I pitched that to the team, and they were not interested because they wanted video. You know, they felt that print was dead, sort of. So I don't know.
But let's just say logistics are not a problem. What dream gig? What team do you pick? What's your story angle?
I think right now you'd probably pick a team that's having a tough time, like Visma.
Visma would be super interesting.
Yeah. And then the other, on the other team on the other end might be Decathlon.
Yeah, like a French Hope.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, you would live with them for a year, so you would share a room with a rider at every race?
I don't think so. But
I love that conceit. That would be amazing. Quinn Simmons and Jonathan together for a year, trading political ideology, cross-pollinating.
Hey, we might agree more than you know.
That's true.
You just don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. And then Quinn Simmons, I think we alluded to it, did confirm he wants to do skimo at the 2024 Winter Olympics, I believe.
No, 34.
Yeah, 20. That would be hard since it didn't. There was no Winter Olympics that year
in Durango. That'd be amazing.
Well, that could be onto something. He does not look his age. If we're gonna talk about what we all think is happening, that he is a time traveler, then we need to acknowledge that. But 2034, I believe Salt Lake City.
It's in Salt Lake, yeah.
Catch Quinn Simmons there, winning gold in skimo. It looked hard, I would say, and it seemed since the race is so short. The transition, it was basically a race of transition. Like, can you get talk about anxiety?
Yeah.
Like, can you get your shoes off really fast? Like, well, I don't know. Like, not now that the pressure's on.
I thought it was also interesting. They were running in between the races to get to the bike to cool down.
Wait, where's this?
The skimo guy.
In between. Yeah,
like
in
speed
between
skating. Yeah, the bike's always the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, we should. So you sent us a Jason Gay piece on. I don't know why this bothered me so much. On Jordan Stoltz is his name, I believe. Amazing speed skater, the best. Also, he lost last night in the 1500, and
saw that.
These catch the announcers though. They're like, unbelievable race from the winner, like out of nowhere. It's like, I know this language. I know what you're trying to tell me. Like, nobody saw this coming. Stoltz couldn't have done better. It's like, oof, that's not what you want to hear. But they're insinuating he's doping, is what I was guessing. But Jason Gay wrote this piece like, would Jordan Stoltz be a good cyclist? It's like, well, maybe we just celebrate him as a speed skater. Why do we need him on a bike? If LeBron James wins an NBA title this year, I don't think we should be like, well, would LeBron James be very good at pool? It's like, well, he just did amazing in one sport. Maybe we just talk about that. Why do we need him on a bicycle?
Great point. Great point. It was, they showed him training on NBC. He was like 10 sets of 10 squats at 400 pounds. I mean, just insane.
He's got a big ass. You guys notice that?
Yeah.
Like
the only thing I could think about when I was watching the speed skating last night was Spencer, our podcast last year about the ebook that I don't remember which one of these athletes published it, but I believe it was the athlete who set the world record in the 1K and the 1500. And it's out there, it's free, and I highly recommend reading it because the training that goes into being able to do that 1 to 2 minutes of effort, it's more than a gravel pro puts in. Let's put it that way.
The guy was training like 30 hours a week on the bike in addition to his other training. Yeah, he basically described how miserable his life was.
Yeah, he was doing like 20 hours at threshold a week.
And he was like, I would just try to do 15 early in the week, get it in early so I could do things later. Like, what the heck are you talking about?
Then he'd run an ultra marathon on the weekend, of course, messed his knees up doing running. That's kind of a common story. I think we all know.
I do think it's hard for athletes because as this guy described in the book, it's just a formula. You run the formula, you get out and perform, you win. And I think someone like Stoltz would struggle with cycling because it's not that. In some ways it is, but just stuff goes crazy. Like there's stuff happening all the time. There's guys locking bars with you. I think it's hard for true purebred. I just go out and I do this for 2 minutes and I win. I think it would be a hard transition just because of the added mental variations of what could go on.
But they do have this mass start race, which I'm not very
he
familiar
mentioned
with.
that.
It's the final event. It sounded like a points race, or it's not a points race. It's a mass start race, and it has a winner.
I also saw the cross-country ski has a 50K mass start race.
Yeah,
what a blast.
That's the capstone of the,
That's tough. Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, anything else? Are you guys, okay, pick your Winter Olympic sport before we go. Then we'll go. Like what are you focusing on for 2020, for 2030?
At the Winter Olympics?
Yeah, you got to make the team and you have to actually do this for the next 4 years. What are you picking?
Well, the curling team had a 54-year-old guy on it, so let's go for that.
Dude, I think curling looks like a one-way ticket to madness. Like that, the margins are so small. Like that looks actually like golf, but harder. But yeah, I could see out there as a sweeper. Get those lats going. Andrew, your pick?
Ski jumping. Anything that brings me closer to Primoz and my Slovenian heritage.
Hometown,
yeah. Like hitting that telemark on my next gravel podium appearance and having it be genuine because I'm an Olympian.
Yeah. Well, do we want to touch the ski jumping controversy or no?
Oh, yeah. Penis gate.
It's insane. It's insane. Do not, if you are a young athlete listening to this, do not inject private parts with chemicals to make them temporarily bigger. So when you're fitted for your suit, there's more bulge. And then when you spread your legs out, it's like you got a squirrel suit on. Also, this is so easily solved. Just make everyone wear a standardized cod piece. And then that's what or like at least when you do the fitting and then everyone has the same amount of extra fabric. Like why is this not solved?
This is actually a plot on the next episode of Industry, but we don't want any spoilers.
I would pick I think long track ski skating. Short track, I'm not built for that. I'm not #built different for short track. I think long track could be kind of nice. Just get in a rhythm, live a miserable life, training for 4 years.
What's Apollo Ono doing now? Burger King commercials?
I think he's at the Olympics as an ambassador.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm sure he is.
You're pulling at threads here that you're not supposed to. Like, what's Shaun White's day-to-day like? What do you do as a former amazing Winter Olympian?
I guarantee he has a venture fund. Like, without even Googling it, I'm sure he's like in the Ashton Kutcher or Rob Dyrdek echelon of his agent raised a fund. They're investing in something. He's made several $100 million. That's my guess.
I think Christy Yamaguchi became an ambassador.
No, you're thinking of Michelle Kwan. She was
Michelle
ambassador
Kwan.
to
Yes.
Belize.
Yeah. She
Christy
went to work for Hillary.
Yamaguchi.
Yeah.
This is like a guided tour of my early sexuality, of things that shaped me as a young man growing up. But man, they were stars, huh? Like, man, we used to be a country, guys. We were pumping out figure skaters left and right. And then we even had, what was that? Tanya Harding, and who was the other one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was like a lost generation. And then we still were winning golds. Crazy. Well, thanks for joining, Jonathan. We don't want to keep you from your Normatec boots. Season on the Brink is the book. Look for it in stores near you soon about Visma. And this year, we'll get you in there last second, embedded.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Talk soon.